Yu-Gi-Oh! Is an extremely expensive card game. Duelists will spend thousands of dollars just to compete at a high level, and I'm here to prove even a budget duelist can succeed.
If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, it would really mean a lot to me if you would subscribe. These videos take a lot of time to make, and each subscriber really pushes me to make the best content I can. Alright, let's get into that video. Alrighty, so getting on into the finds, we didn't have a lot, only 5, 2 from trades, 3 from the bulk bin, but still decent stuff. So we pulled 1 copy of Vernisil for the Misting Seedlings from the bulk bin. This is our 3rd copy. This is really nice because we got to figure out whether we want to run 2 and 3, 3 and 2, 3 and 3, 2 and 2. So having the 3rd copy is just nice for that. We also found a copy of the Generator Plant boss monster. So this is a decent card for the future if we ever pick up the Aromatherapy Jasmine. This is actually a decent card because when it's summoned, either normal or special summoned, we can add a generator or a plant monster from our deck to our hand. Pretty simple effect, but it is a 2400 body, and it is a nice little extender if we do pick up the Aromatherapy stuff, so it's nice to have. Then getting on into the trades, we found 2 copies of Vernisil from the Awakening Force from our boy Zach. So we are traded for these. I don't know how I feel about this card. It is a Foolish Burial, which is decent, but I don't know if a Foolish Burial is necessarily better than a draw and an add of an Earth Fairy. So we're going to have to test this card out and see what we come up with. And the 3rd card we also got off of Zach was a copy of Ausa, the Earth Channeler. So I like this card in theory, but I think in practice it actually isn't all that good because it only adds an Earth monster of one of the discarded types. So it's either a Spellcaster or the monster you discard. So you can add a plant or an insect if you pitch a plant or an insect. But because our deck is mixed with types, it doesn't really gel all that well. It doesn't really do things better than the Vernisil stuff. So I think it's still nice to have because worst case scenario, somebody might want it, but I still think we got some decent stuff. We're gonna go ahead and get on to the deck build and show you guys what we can come up with.
Alrighty, so today there's not going to be any locals games, but today I did want to kind of do some planning, have a planning stage so we can, figure out where we're going with this deck. So this is the deck list as we have it right now. Nothing's changed between now and the last video, but I did want to go ahead and show you guys where we're going with the deck list. So getting on into this is kind of like the final build that we're going for. We have triple Mantis, triple Myrmelio, and triple Pudica. These are the standard 3 starters for the deck, so playing them at 3 makes a lot of sense. We do have 1 Pankratops. This deck does struggle going second, so I think Pankratops also really works well with the Vernisil engine that we got in here. We've cut Arachnocampa down to 2 just because it doesn't really do a whole lot on its own, and you don't really want to be using this card as your starter if you can help it. We got 2 Dionea. I think 2 Dionea is just correct. It's great to summon off of Sarah, but it's also great to normal summon and get in like turns 3 and 4. That way you can just get so much more advantage. The Vernisil package, we have 1 Vera, 2 Misting Seedlings, and 3 Thawing Mountains. As you saw before, I did pick up the 3rd Misting Seedling, so I'm going to consider playing the 3rd one, but I think this makes a lot of sense. These 5 Vernisils with the 1 Vera, I think it makes a lot of sense. We've got the 3 Ash Blossom. Going to next format, Ash is still very good. It's great against Kashtira. It's decent against Pearly and Super Heavy Samurais. But the big thing is still 3 Kaijus in the main deck. So we took out Evenleys for Kaijus. Well, actually, we took out Evenleys for Imperms, which we're probably going to struggle to get our hands on, but we are going to try and get our hands on them. But we took out Evenleys because going into next format, the Riseheart Passports, Dragoon, and the Pearly boards are going to be really difficult for us to deal with. I'm not so sure about the Super Heavy Samurai boards. I think that they are pretty interruptible and interactable, but we're going to have to see. We got the 1 Garden, we have the 3 Holatea. As I said before, we have 3 Imperm. We upped our Trap Tricks, Trap Hole lineup a bit. We upped it by 1, and the reason is because even though having other normal traps like Imperm, like Evenly, like Heavy Storm Duster, to discard off of Holatea is great. It means it's more resilient. The combos aren't as interruptible. You really want to be pitching trap holes, that way you can reborn them off of Dionea. In the side deck, 3 Lancia, 3 Evenly, 3 Heavy Storm Duster, 3 Dimensional Barrier, 1 Appointer, 1 Duster, and 1 Cowboy. Cowboy for game, let's go. And then in the extra deck, 3 Sarah, 1 Ausa, 1 Codebreaker Virus Swordsman. I think this makes a lot of sense because it outs Baguska. It's basically 2 monsters out Baguska, which is not necessarily difficult for our deck to deal with, it's just not fun. We have 1 Boral Sword Dragon. I still think this is the better card to kind of like out Dragoon. Access Code is great, but if we're making Access Code, we could also make Boral Sword, and I think it's fine. There are some niche cases where like we'd want to Access Code send itself to pop a skill drain, but I think if we're committing 4 monsters to add a skill drain, we probably already lost the game. We've got 2 Rafflesia. This is still just at 2 to deal with the Diablosis or the Unicorn from Kashtira. And again, we have to play 2 Gravediggers just because if we draw 1, we can still use Rafflesia to stop Nibiru. We got 1 Allomeris, 1 Pangicula, 1 Reader. We're going to get one of the new Sacred Sheep Tree Baramets. This card is really, really nice for this deck. It's a plant, so you don't have to worry about the Arachnocampa lock. It recycles some of your traps, so you can use them again with Rafflesia. It draws you cards, and it detaches a material from any Xyz monster on field, so it can detach from a Redo, or it can detach from a Baguska, or a Rafflesia, or something like that, to summon a monster when a trap card is activated. So it really works well. It is kind of a quick effect. It's not really a quick effect, but it works on our opponent's turn, so that's really nice. 1 Baguska, we did trade away our 1 Baguska, but we should be able to find another one. This just really is the panic button if we're like, well, I can get a Mantis and an Arachnocampa, but they cut me off of my links or, something. It just gives us a panic button. And then finally the 1 Zeus. Zeus is the house. It is the boy. Unfortunately, it's sitting at a comfortable $30 price tag right now for the cheapest copy, so it'll be difficult to get our hands on it, but it's also one of those cards that doesn't really matter a whole lot. I could easily see us just throwing the Cowboy into the extra deck just to be safe, just so, we don't have to worry about time. But yeah, I think this is a decent list to work towards. I don't want to say it's perfect. A lot of people will say, oh, just play Parallel Exceeds instead of the Vernisylphs, but I still like them. I think for this type of deck, the Vernisylph Trap Trick deck, I think this is actually pretty good. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!